Hi, I'm Sashwati Sarkar, and you're watching The Times of India. In today's episode, we explore how a structured academic journey, starting from the age of 3 and stretching to 19, can shape a student's global future. We'll talk about early benchmarking through checkpoint assessments of the Cambridge system, the rising importance of well being in education, and why future ready skills like collaboration and critical thinking are no longer optional. Joining me for this conversation is Mr. Vinay Sharma, Senior Vice President of International Education at Cambridge University Press and Assessment. He brings a front row view of how education is evolving and what that means for students chasing international dreams. Thanks a lot for joining us in this conversation today, Vinay. Let's get into the questions right away. Let's start at the beginning, literally, with the Cambridge pathway now supporting students from the age of 3 to 19. What's the big picture advantage of this full academic journey for those aiming to study abroad at a later stage of their career?
See, Cambridge is a research based comprehensive curriculum which provides the right combination of academic rigor and skills which are required for the learners to be ready for this world. So it helps learners get the right kind of knowledge, understanding and skills which will help them pursue these careers whether in India or abroad. Some of these skills which are very important for when you go to universities abroad are focusing on critical thinking, problem solving, independent research, collaboration, presentation skills. I mean, these are developed as part of the curriculum and the students pursue their journey, which really help them later on. In addition to that, I think Cambridge is a curriculum which is recognized by more than 2,200 universities worldwide. So when the Cambridge students go to these universities, they are already aware of the curriculum. They're aligned with the Cambridge standards of learning, and they also have the past track record of Cambridge students doing extremely well in these universities. So Cambridge students are welcomed in these universities given the past track record and given the rigor of the curriculum that Cambridge students undergo. So,
Right.
and the other thing
So,
is, I think
as
flexible and wide curriculum. So when a parent admits their child to a Cambridge curriculum, they have all the options available to for their child. So they don't need to worry about whether they have to narrow it down to going abroad or in India at that stage. So let the child develop as a holistic development of child with social emotional learning, with analytical thinking, with critical thinking and academic rigor, and the child is free to take the decision at the later stage depending on the interest, depending on the competencies, and depending on what he or she wants to do.
no, as you mentioned in your answer, that Cambridge qualifications are accepted by over 2,000 universities worldwide, including, I think it includes Ivy League and Oxbridge as well, right?
Yes.
If you could elaborate a little bit on what kind of edge does this recognition offer students who want to compete in the global admissions race?
So first of all, these qualifications are accepted by all the top universities in the world, which are part of these 2,200 universities. See, what happens is Cambridge learners develop these skills like independent research, critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, which are highly valued by these global universities. So, which is why they are at advantage. Cambridge international students, for example, in addition to A levels, several universities grant credit for them. So, which means that they can actually shorten their course duration or as well as pursue some other subjects because of the credits that they get on account of Cambridge curriculum. So, to that extent, they have this advantage. Also, we've got this feedback from universities that Cambridge students perform very well as compared to other students because of the kind of course curriculum and the rigor that they've gone through while pursuing their A levels.
Can you shed a little bit of light on the course curriculum, the unique aspects of Cambridge course curriculum?
Yeah. So I think if you look at the early years and the primary curriculum, this is a curriculum which is very holistic, including not only academic rigor and comprehensive development, but also well-being and holistic development of child. If you look at IGCSE, there's a wide availability of subjects. Like 70 subjects are available in terms of choices. So there is a lot of flexibility for students to choose among various options or combinations. For example, I have seen students who are pursued medicine while taking history along with medicine. So there is,
Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah,
That's a
the
very
students have those
unique
options.
combination.
Yeah, so imagine a doctor who also has taken psychology. So look at how it can lead to a much better development in your field. Similarly, A levels offer a wide variety of choices, so which students can pursue. They can mix and match these subjects, which can help them, aim at more buckets of careers as compared to someone else, right? In addition to that, I'll tell you something very interesting. A levels develop very good skills. For example, some of the skills which are extremely critical in today's world is systems thinking, where you are able to understand different components of system, analyze patterns, look at feedback loops. That's something that A levels develop. Another critical thinking skill is problem solving skills, which is both at kind level of problems, which are regular problem solving, and at wicked level of problems, which is a higher level problem solving skills. Those are some of the things that A levels develop. Then you have skills like metacognition, where you are aware of your learning, how your learning takes place, and how you can refine your learning. So while pursuing these curriculum, the way pedagogy is defined, the way teaching is defined, the way assessments are, students end up building these skills. We have a subject called global perspectives, which helps them understand about the world around them, analyze, research, and find out solutions to the problems or the issues. So all this is part of the curriculum, which prepares them very well, not only to crack these exams or get into universities, but be successful in life.
Right. So, moving on to our next question, and a very important one for that matter, the checkpoint assessment in the Cambridge system. So, if you could shed a little bit of light on how the assessment, this checkpoint assessment system works, that would be of great help. And if you could also explain how this assessment helps students, succeed in tests like SAT.
So, see, checkpoint are the assessments which are done at class 5 and class 8. So, these are assessments which check the level of understanding or level of competence of students in these subjects. And, interesting and important part is
What subjects? When you say
these are
these
like
subjects, you mean?
math, science, English, these core subjects.
Okay.
And interesting part is these uh, assessments and the results that you get in these are a very good indicator of your performance in IGCSE and A levels. So in a way, this is a good indicator for teachers and schools to know where students stand, what are the areas where they can focus more on, and how will their journey be. So this is a good uh, check at class 5 and class 8 in terms of assessing the student and preparing them well. And ultimately, their IGCSE and A levels then lead to further more progress towards SAT and other exams. So these are good indicators of progress as the students move and an indicator of their success in the next level of exams.
What is actually the difference between a general assessment and the checkpoint assessment? I mean, assessments are done at every class, right? But how is the checkpoint assessment different from the general assessment?
You see, it's like IGCSE and A levels are like your board exams, external high stakes assessments,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So checkpoint assessments are done by Cambridge, but they are done at individual school level, right,
Okay,
for the students.
okay,
But so students, schools, get these results, and then they can assess the students' level in terms of their current level at that class, as well as their preparedness for or their competence or their level of uh, competence in that subject, which also is an indicator of how their performance will be in IGCSE or A level. So it's a good indicator for those high stake assessments. These are not high stake assessments where the marks are counted. So high stakes IGCSE and A level marks are counted and are looked at when students take admission, but these are kind of internal assessments that way.
right. And it is mandatory for the school to perform this checkpoint assessment, right, at class 5 and class 8?
So these assessments are strongly recommended by us. We have not made it mandatory, but most of the progressive schools they end up doing these assessments.
Okay.
See, to that extent, Cambridge offers flexibility. We are not very inflexible on that. This has to be done, but we tell them why it is important. Which is why schools end up doing it.
Do teachers, since it's done at the school level, do teachers need to be trained specifically to conduct these checkpoint assessments?
So no, so what we do is there are multiple levels of teacher trainings that we do. Who have the complete professional development vertical, which helps teachers on getting trainings on various aspects of the curriculum, whether it's teaching, whether it's assessment, whether it's marking, whether it's classroom management. So there are multiple courses that we have, and there are multiple trainings that we conduct throughout the year for teachers and school leaders, which help them understand not only about assessment but all the other areas of curriculum delivery and development.
Okay, understood, understood. So now I want to touch upon one very sensitive issue that students of this era face. It's not just academic pressure, they face a lot of burnout and stress. So, how is the Cambridge curriculum embedding well-being and resilience in a way that genuinely prepares students for international expectations?
Yeah, I think that's a very important and very fundamental question. I mean, I must say that. So Cambridge puts a lot of focus on this. If you look at till class 8, we have well-being as a subject, so you can pursue that subject. In addition to that, if you look at our pedagogy and the way we we have the resources for teaching, they help develop emotional resilience, emotional regulation, and coping mechanisms in students. The way the pedagogy is defined, the way it is delivered. There's also something called behavior for learning, which is where we help students understand, learn how to regulate their emotions, how to cope up with the various situations, how to develop emotional intelligence. So all that is very well integrated in the pedagogy, in the resources, in the way the curriculum is being taught. Now, if you look at senior classes, IGCSE or A level, there's a huge variety of subjects and flexibility for students. I mean, like I was mentioning, for example, if you've taken 7, 8 subjects, you can choose 3, 4 science subjects with 1 or 2 art subjects, which makes it more comprehensive, more interesting for students to learn. You don't have to be having either get started as a science or as commerce or as art. So students have that flexibility to choose the subjects and the curriculum which is to their liking, to their levels, which they find comfortable with. So I think Cambridge curriculum as a whole, the genesis or the DNA is to be more flexible, to be more student centric, and to design pedagogies and teaching methodologies in ways which integrate wellness as part of the curriculum delivery. Something very interesting I'll tell you. We have something called Cambridge learner attributes.
Okay.
There are 5 attributes which we help develop in the learners as they undergo the Cambridge curriculum, which is being responsible. So they're responsible for themselves and they are being responsive to others also. Being engaged, they're socially and emotionally engaged with the society. you know Being confident, they are confident of the situations and challenges that come their way, and they have the way to solve or adapt these things. Being reflective, they reflect on their own methodology of learning, what's happening, and to find solutions themselves as an independent learners. See, there is a lot of focus on making Cambridge learners as independent learners, where they're able to regulate their learning, they're able to regulate their
Yes,
emotions.
independent learning, I think, is very important for any study abroad aspirant because in the international education scenario, they focus more on experiential learning than I think facilitative learning, right?
That's right. That's right. So,
And
which is what,
also,
yeah,
you are talking about resilience and adapting to new to different situations. All these are very, very necessary for any student who goes abroad, right?
yeah. See, I think one of the things that we are focusing on in Cambridge is how do we make our learners future ready? I mean, if you look at the world today, we are facing unprecedented changes, whether it's geopolitical, you see what is happening today, whether it's environmental, whether it is technology related disruptions. If you look at the World Economic Forum report, 40% of jobs will disappear by 2030. So we cannot prepare students for a course. So this Cambridge learner attributes this kind of wider base or foundation that we built for the students, which is not only helping them excel in these exams but excelling in life, is what we are working on. So that when tomorrow, in a world which we are not even sure of what kind of world it will be, but these people will not only survive but thrive as tomorrow's change makers and leaders.
So tell us a little bit about innovations like the March exam series and the Cambridge Connect Bridge course. How do they help align global learning with national expectations?
Yeah. So, this is a very important question, and that also shows the importance of India in the overall Cambridge scheme of things. So, as a curriculum, we are very, very close to the our learners and school community. We closely work with them. We also take their inputs, feedbacks, and act on that. So, March series is one of the example of that, because March series is something that aligns students with Indian examinations and Indian universities, because Indian academic calendar is April to March. So with March series, Indian students have the ability now to very comfortably apply to Indian universities and follow the Indian calendar. So that is something which was a demand from Indian schools, and we have been able to do that. Similarly, Cambridge offers a beautiful curriculum which opens all careers to you, especially abroad as well as in India. Now, one of the things that uh, we have got feedback was that when you look at high stake exams like engineering and medicine, there's some areas where they felt that we need more work. So we have created a Cambridge
You need
corrections
more?
course.
I couldn't hear you.
So there is a more reinforcement required in some syllabus.
Right.
So we have created a Cambridge Connection course, which creates a full pathway for students who want to pursue these high stake exams. So what it does is, because of the Cambridge methodology, which is more analytical based, which is more application based, combined with this course, now Cambridge students are much stronger placed to take a shot at these exams as compared to other students. So that is something that we did. That's what I was telling initially. As a parent, when you put your child in a Cambridge school, you have all the options available to you. So Cambridge student is well placed to take a shot at any career that they want, whether in India or abroad.
Right. So there's a lot of talk around future ready skills like collaboration and critical thinking. But these are often, buzzwords only. How does the Cambridge system make them tangible for students, especially those preparing for highly competitive global classrooms?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question. So, in fact, I was just mentioning that. So, if you look at Cambridge curriculum A levels, there's a research that I was just sharing with you, which shows that students who undergo A levels develop these higher order thinking skills. Three main skills which I was talking about. One is the systems thinking, which is a critical skill for today's world, where you are able to analyze the different components of the system and you are able to see the trends, the feedback loops, and then do interventions. So this is something when students undergo A levels and undergo A level assessment, this is they develop this skill. Second skill that they develop is problem solving skills. Now, if I get into a little more details, there are two kinds of problems which come here. One are kind problems where they apply the concepts that they know to situations which are familiar or similar. Then there are
Okay,
then there are wicked problems where students have to figure out what concept can be applied here, and it's a different situation which they are facing for the first time, which is what the real world is, right? So they develop those higher order critical thinking skills because of those wicked problems. Third skill, which is very important, is metacognition. They understand their own learning process and how the learning happens, and they're able to refine and prove and self-regulate it. So these are three skills, important skills, which get developed when students undergo A levels and do those assessments. Similarly, there are other things like collaboration. We have a like in global perspective, you do project work, you do research work along with others, which helps develop collaborative skills. There are projects, there are case studies. So the curriculum is designed in such a way that when you do this curriculum well, you end up developing all these skills.
right. So finally, if you had to advise a parent or student today choosing between national and international curricula, what should they keep in mind if studying abroad is their end goal?
I think I would say each student, each parent have their own ambition and have their own journey. And I think, practically speaking, I've been a parent, it takes time for you to realize what you want to do. So, when you're class fifth or class first or even class eight, it's very difficult for you to narrow it down that, this is how my child's journey will look like. So I would say that go for a curriculum which offers all kind of options so that you have the choice at any stage to pursue whatever you want to pursue. That is what I would like to do as a parent.
No, I specified if studying abroad is the end goal, then what would you advise?
So I think I can only talk about Cambridge, that if studying abroad is a goal, Cambridge is a curriculum which has recognition with 2,200 universities, including the top Ivy League universities in UK, US, and other countries. So it offers you not only the recognition in terms of the universities, but also a strong foundation which prepares these students with the knowledge, understanding, and skills that they need to pursue these careers abroad.
Understood. Vinay, thanks a lot for your time today, and thanks a lot for sharing so many new pieces of information with us. And
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you for the
I'm
opportunity.
sure your suggestions and your views will be an eye opener for our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.